Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. This webinar is hosted by Rehoboth Dream Solid Foundation, and I would do a brief introduction of our guest, and we will start today's event. Before I introduce our guest, I would like to, on behalf of the chairman of the Board of Trustees, Sir Oladende Olusoga Joseph, Rear Admiral Retired, CON, MNI, and other distinguished trustees of the foundation, I would like to welcome you all to this webinar. We have had series of webinars like this and workshops in the past as part of our skills development program for young people. The first one was held in 2015, and we contracted it out to a HR company called The Workplace, and we sponsored 13 people to attend the workshop. Subsequently, in order for our DSF to make more impact and reach more people, we started hosting and organizing these workshops ourselves. In 2016, we had a session in Ekiti State, and we had 55 participants. We've held a series of other webinars, and we've seen great impact. Today's webinar is our 9th, and the topic is Introduction to Cybersecurity. We have recordings of past editions of our webinars on our YouTube page. Our YouTube page is also the name of the foundation. It's Rehoboth Dream Solid Foundation. You can find us on YouTube. We've had very interesting topics in the past. We will not take too much of your time today, but we'll keep everything under 2 hours. And I'm confident to let you know that whatever time you spend with us today, you would be very grateful and you will get value for your time. After this introduction, our guest speaker will speak for 60 minutes and would have a 5-minute break, and then he will take questions and comments from the participants, and then we'll do a wrap-up. Thank you so much again for joining us. At this time, I would introduce our guest speaker and give you a brief history of our guest speaker. Today, we are privileged to have as a speaker Admiral Hamza Ibrahim. He is the MD, Admiralty Maritime Services Limited. Admiral Ibrahim has an MSc in National Security and War Corps National Defense University, Islamabad. He has a PhD Computer Security and from the University of Liverpool, as well as a bachelor's degree in electronic engineering from the NDA Kaduna. Admiral Ibrahim is a member of many professional bodies, amongst which are Council of Registered Engineers of Nigeria, the Nigeria Computer Society, Nigeria Society of Engineers, and Nigeria Institute of Information Communication and Technology Engineers. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. We do not take it for granted. We recognize your position, and there's so many things that you have to do. And we are so grateful that you have chosen to partner with Rehoboth to impact young adults and even beyond young adults, because we do have some matured people around the call today. Thank you very much, sir. We have 65 people around the call now, and you have the floor to make your presentation. Thank you so much, sir.
Before you share. Okay, thank you very much for this introduction. And first and foremost, I want to sincerely thank the organizers of this, and then the privilege given to me to speak to this audience. I want to welcome everyone, and by the grace of God, our time will not be wasted. We will be enlightened based on the topic. I equally want to thank the Board of Trustees, and particularly my mentor and senior, Rear Admiral Omolafe, who has been up and doing to make sure that he gets me and bring this particular day to fruition. Thank you very much, sir. Without much ado, I would like to share my slide and commence my presentation. Since I have a time limit, I will try as much as possible to live within that time frame. Ready? Okay. As earlier introduced, our topic for today is fundamentals of cybersecurity, which I'm seeking on. Although a brief about me has been given, but here I equally put something for people to see. My name's clearly written there. I work in the Nigerian Navy, been in the IT industry for 20 years. I'm an IT hobbyist, education as earlier mentioned, PGD Computer Security, Bachelor's of Engineering Electronics, MSc National Security. I have a certificate in the 7th domain of cybersecurity, A+ certification, and I have a certificate too in the security system, certified professional, and then in project management. I have others that I don't think I want to put them here. I will leave them to myself because if you continue to write this certification, it serves your money. I have skill in web design and development, both in the front end and then the back end. I do hacking, but in the ethical manner, and I write program at my leisure time. Our expectation for today, I intend to first and foremost look at the concept of cyberspace. We always speak about cybersecurity, cybersecurity, cybersecurity. But where is this cyber? What is it? What does it compose? How unique it is? We'll be able to have the small details of it this morning. I'll look at the unique attribute of cyberspace and then look at the human convergence in cyberspace, how we are all gathered there knowingly and unknowingly. One time my lecturer said, the genie is out of the bottle and there's no going back. So whether anyone likes it or not, he has to join the trend in cyberspace. Otherwise, the world will leave you behind. Then I'll look at what is the threat spectrum. What are those dangers? What is the threat in the cyberspace? Then we look at the basics of cybersecurity. Then we look at the threats to cybersecurity and how do we stay safe and making it safer for others. We look at cybersecurity as a business opportunity, and then we look at the career path that is available for those of us that are interested in venturing into this. Please, what you know here in my presentation is how to hack somebody's computer, or how to hack somebody's laptop, or how to hack somebody's phone. But I'll be able to outline courses you can take so that you become an ethical hacker if you want. Now, starting with cyberspace. There are a lot of divergent views on what cyberspace is or not. Some pundit view cyberspace as a kind of standalone arena, while others see it's a standalone environment, just like we have the land, the maritime environment, air, and then the outer space. However, other groups see cyberspace as just a force multiplier in the already established domains of land, maritime, air, and outer space. Honestly, in my own opinion, I will go with the latter. However, globally, it has been accepted that cyberspace has to be defined so that we'll be able to know how to navigate in it and how to stay safe. Here is a definition given by United States Department of Defense. And they define cyberspace as the global domain within the information. A global domain within the information environment consisting of interdependent networks of information technology infrastructures, including the internet, telecommunications network, computer system, and embedded processors and controllers. Again, Carl, who is one of the people, the founding father of the internet itself, defines cyberspace as a global domain within the information environment, whose distinctive and unique character is framed by the use of electronics and electromagnetic spectrum to create, store, modify, exchange, and exploit information via interdependent and interconnected networks using information communication technologies. Why is this definition very important? Greater number of people limit cyberspace to only the internet. And as you can see from these two definitions, cyberspace is far beyond just the internet that we live in every day. The internet is just one fragment of the cyberspace. Now, crystallizing this definition too, to be able to see what are the various composition of cyberspace. Because when you look at, when we say interdependent and interconnected networks, here we're talking about physical entities. Just like you have your communication mass, you have your fiber optics cable, and so many other physical things you can see to work with. Then the second, we have the electromagnetic spectrum. This component is invisible to us, but we know it exists because we can feel its impact, and which is the logical layer of cyberspace, or what we call the virtual layer. Then we have the effect creating layer, making things happen. By who? Say we create, store, modify, and exchange and exploit information and processes. This is what we call the operational space of cyberspace. And this place is largely dominated by human beings and other devices that can do same. So, in essence, what we're saying here is cyberspace is simply beyond the internet that we see. We are also part of the cyberspace. Just like you have the land, like I said, the earth without us is just the earth. So cyberspace, we have the physical or the network layer, the logical network layer, and the cyber personal layer. Now, what are the distinctive characteristics of this particular environment? First and foremost, it's global reach. Cyberspace provides users operational reach. We are simply enjoying one right now. I need not to be where you are to deliver this lecture. Anyone can join us from any part of the world. While this is a good thing, it equally has its cons, because this same operational reach gives a criminal that same opportunity to reach out to anybody, anywhere around the globe. Secondly, is its speed of connection gives victims little time to defend themselves against an attack. No early warning. Sometimes in the military, we have early warning, probably when you have a fighter plane coming to you, even the sound, you will hear that. But here, it moves at the speed of light. 3, rapid and unpredictable population of technology. As at today, we have close to 29 billion items, devices that are connected to the internet. 29 billion. And it is expected by 2025, we are going to have as much as up to 41 billion devices connected to the cyberspace. So you can see, the more we converge into cyberspace, the greater what we call the surface, the attack surface for the criminal to operate. Now, another one is that it encourages anonymity. You will read about a lot of crimes that are connected or that are carried out in cyberspace. It's either Russia accusing China, or China accusing US, or US accusing China. Yet, you cannot pinpoint a person exactly and hold him responsible. even conducting a kind of digital forensic of this kind of activity is so difficult because the attack will have passed through several servers around the world before getting there. So how do you deal with the case of going to another country where a particular server is located to say you want to carry out a kind of forensic investigation? It's very difficult. So that is why you can do a lot of things and go scot-free unless you're unfortunate. And lastly, they said, the entry cost into cyberspace is remarkably low, making it accessible to everyone. What do we mean here? You see, an organization or individual will gather a lot of sophisticated network, but with barely a free software, you see an entity elsewhere causing damage. So the criminals don't need as much money as you require to set up a kind of cyber environment in your house before they are able to attack you. The cost of entry is so cheap. Then, unlike land, where some states are favored by geography, cyberspace is neutral. What matters here is your capacity to do and undo in cyberspace, and the geography of where you are does not really matter. Next is convergence in cyberspace. Like I mentioned earlier, let's look at cyberspace has become a major driver of global activities with unprecedented impact on the entire spectrum of human interaction. This is undeniable. We all can see and feel it, how we solve problems. Like I said, we are solving one right now. Its growing importance to service delivery has made it a dominant platform for human interaction in the 21st century. Now let's look at our convergence in cyberspace. Take a look at all these sectors and activities. Is it governance and politics? Is it economy, military, healthcare, education? We are having an online discussion now. You can have an online classes, research and development, diplomatic engagement, space technology, transportation system, the business sector, financial sector, banking industries, tourism, humanities and travels, communication, entertainment, information management, international relations, manufacturing, and the list goes on. How could anybody imagine carrying out most of these things today without the impact of cyberspace? So this is the much humanity has converged into this sector, and it's either you are with us or you are on your own, because the world will not wait for anyone. You can imagine someone that will say, okay, I'm not going to have a bank account today because my phone or my bank account will be hacked. And then there's no organization that will give you work or pay you, because every payment now goes to the bank. So you have to join us, but you have to navigate safely. Then let's look at the threat spectrum in the cyberspace. Threat spectrum in the cybersphere could be accidental, which mostly can be caused by natural disaster, field accidents, flooding, or fire. You see, it is not only the criminal element that can cause harm in cyberspace. Much earlier, we have seen the composition of cyberspace from the logical, the physical, and then the personal. I can tell you, if you have your fiber optics leading to your house caught accidentally during the digging of the road, rest assured that your cyberspace capability has been impaired. If there is flooding or fire that engulf your IT infrastructure, by the definition of cyberspace, your cyberspace has been severed. Natural disasters like earthquake, all these hurricane, and the rest are also part of the threats to cyberspace. And that is why you see some companies, that's what they call, is it offshoring, if I can remember very well. They can be located here in Lagos and have a backup server in the US and then a backup server in somewhere in the Middle East. In case, particularly if the area they are is prone to natural disaster. Then secondly is the intentional one. And in the intentional one, the major actors, we call them, we have the script, they are human beings. That is the script kiddies, or in the hacking world, we call them the packet monkeys. You know, monkeys can be nuisance, those small monkeys can be nuisance. Then we have the state actors, which is largely governments or what they call advanced persistent threat. Then we have the non-state actors. This could be whether violent non-state actors, are they terrorists, are they organized criminals, there could be non-governmental organization, and there could even be companies that are in competing business with you. You know, then we have individual or the lone hackers. We have the insider, which is one of the most treacherous aspect of cyber threat, and then we have the organized groups. We'll look at these people in more details in the subsequent slide. There's the script kiddies. You see, script kiddies are the starting point in the spectrum of cyber threat. These novice use software tools provided by others to intrude into computer network. Sometimes they cause loss of data, system crashes, access denial, and often leave the system vulnerable to attack. You know, script kiddies pose less threat in the threat spectrum, but are very rampant in cyberspace. And the bad thing about them is that because of their activities marks the activities of the main culprits. Then we have the state actor or the advanced persistent threat. This is government, because this is the most dangerous of all, because government have all the resources to pursue an entity through cyber warfare if they wish to do that. And they have the patience and then the time at their disposal. You know, have access to resources and personnel. They can hire the best and pay him. Then they conduct espionage against others. Just like we read on pages of paper and watch on television, is either America accusing China of exfiltrating data of trade secrets, or US accusing North Korea, and the war goes on like that. It happens, but like I said, one of those unique characteristics of cyberspace is that it provides anonymity. You can only accuse, you can point exactly at the person that is responsible. Then state actors may conduct operation directly or may outsource, like I said earlier, to third parties, including front companies, patriotic hackers, or other surrogates. Then we have attacks such as the ones mounted in Estonia 2007, Georgia in 2008, Japan 2009, and Iran 2020. That is the Stuxnet virus that was used to sabotage the nuclear program of Iran. All these are considered as attack from nation state. Then we have the named state actors. These are organizations not bound by national boundaries. They could be friends from anywhere in the world, you know, including legitimate non-governmental organization and criminal organization, violent extremist organization, non-state threats use cyberspace to raise funds, recruit, plan operation, undermine confidence in government, and conduct espionage and conduct directories action within the cyberspace. Then we have the individuals. Individual or small group of people with high level of programming skill can attack or exploit cyberspace, you know, enabled by affordable and rapidly available techniques and malware. You know, they account for 23% of all the cyberspace breaches we have globally. exploit vulnerabilities to gain access to discover additional vulnerability or sensitive data and use them for malicious intent. Then we have the insider threats. This is one of the worst threats to organization, and it is perpetrated by current employee or former employee, contractor, or other business partner who has had authorized access to organization network maybe earlier for the system or data and intentionally exceed or abuse the access in a manner that compromises the security of information or information system of the organization. And that is why, particularly in the banking industry and some sensitive areas, you must declassify that particular person, probably if he's leaving the company. And sometimes he has to sign a non-disclosure agreement because if anything goes wrong, he can be taken to court. Weak link is a case in hand. The insider threats is often difficult to trace. In most cases, by the time the crime is detected, the harm has been done. We have organized crime. Organized crime is one of the biggest threats to cybersecurity. Well-coordinated individuals and experienced programmers who produce tons of malicious software for illegal cause. They steal and sell confidential information, bank account details, government-issued identity numbers, credit card details, personal identification numbers, and email address lists. This is a business. Notorious criminals group like the Asian tribes and then the Japanese Yakuza are known for their criminal exploits in cyberspace. Before I go into the basics of cybersecurity, from the threat spectrum we have seen, you see, it is even much more easier today that someone that does not know anything in terms of hacking can buy this malicious code or hire an individual because these things are there in what we call the dark web. They are there. And with the advent of using Bitcoin, all you need is just to have the resources and hire an individual to say, okay, please, this company is competing with me. I want you to saturate their website for the next 7 days. So it is doable now. You don't have to be an ethical hacker to do this. You can pay for the service. Now back to the main topic of the day, which is basic of cybersecurity. The basic concept of cybersecurity is all about ensuring the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of information. But here, you see this a lot on pages of IT books. If we cast our mind back to definition of cyberspace, the information there you are seeing can be a device. Imagine someone stealing your laptop. What has he deprived you of there is availability, because if you want to pick your laptop and log in to conduct an exam, definitely that laptop is gone, and the probability that the information inside, you will get access to it, and it has lost confidentiality, and there's equally the likelihood that the integrity can be lost. So this is the foundation stone of cybersecurity. All we are trying to do is that whether it's information, whether it's a device in cyberspace, we should make sure that its confidentiality is maintained, its integrity is equally maintained, and it is available to you as at the time you want it. Let me give you an example. We set up to do this webinar by 10 o'clock. If for any reason the cyberspace of this country has been impaired for any circumstance that no one can connect to the internet, then we have lost availability. And then this couldn't have been taking place. So CIA, the confidentiality is keeping secret information secret. Then the integrity is protecting the information from being changed or damaged. Then we have availability, ensuring that the information is available at the time the information is needed. So this is the foundation stone of whether cyber security. In some places you hear computer security, in some places you hear information security. So to achieve this, it is a synergy. It is a synergy between technology, processes, and cyber cultured people, because the people that are going to work with these equipment, devices, or in the cyberspace have to be cultured. So let's look at technology. Technology is usually applied both at the virtual and at the physical layer of cyberspace. Now, at the physical layer, if you are leaving your offices, you do lock the offices so that somebody will not come and pick probably a laptop or the computer. We are likely to have intrusion detection system so that once the doors are open, it raises alarm. We have surveillance cameras too to make sure that those devices are on camera. In case anyone pick them, we'll be able to trace or raise alarm. We keep physical guards too in our offices to make sure that these things are not tampered with. And then even when we want to destroy them, we have to destroy them the appropriate way so that someone else don't pick those devices and recover the data they are in. Then we have at the virtual level. This is, I'm very sure most of us have password in our computer. You have to create what they call the login credentials. Your computer has a firewall. You have the intrusion detection system and then the intrusion protection system, all at the software level. Then the security patches that we download to make sure that we update our operating system and other security softwares. We have the antivirus that we equally install in our system and scan our drives from time to time to make sure that our systems are not infected by malwares. So in general, this is what we call defense in depth, meaning when you have or you are in cyberspace or working with any of the entities of cyberspace, there are layers of security that you put to ensure the CIA is kept as the foundation of security, meaning to ensure that that particular information or device is available to you when you need it. It is not compromised in any way in terms of its integrity, and the confidentiality of whatever is inside, it is still retained. Then, this is just an example in technology. This is what we call a demilitarized zone. This is just a kind of configuration that we do, particularly for an organization that wants to share some aspects, some declassified aspect of its company's information to the world. You can see to your right is the remote access that people can access, and then to the left is the company's. So here you can see there are devices, and these devices have firewall there, which is the software. The router has that. You have servers there. These servers have operating system and they have access control for whoever wants to access them. He has to provide login details to ensure that. So in technology, we have the physical side of it to make sure that those devices are there where they are supposed to and they are there in good health. And then you equally have at the virtual level. Now, processes. Policy, very important. You see, today, when you go to a lot of companies and you ask them, what is the policy on use of flash drive in your organization? Hardly they tell you what that policy is. So that means anybody can walk in with a flash drive or USB drive and plug it into any computer and take it out. What is the policy on using probably a company's or office computer to send email or receive email? Because emails, USB drives are some of the easiest way either to steal information or to introduce virus or malware into an organization setting. So policies are required, and these are high-level statements of enterprise belief, goals, and objectives, and the general means for their attainment for specified areas. Then we have the standards. Standard support policy, and they are mandatory requirement to support individual policies. You need to have standards. Okay, this is how we do X, Y, Z. This is how we implement this. This is how we do this. Then we have procedures too. Procedures too are step-by-step detailed action required to successfully complete a task. So in IT world, you must have policy, you must have standard in organization, and you must have procedures on how things are done. Then the last is guidelines. Guidelines are suggestions for regular and consistent implementation of accepted practices. They usually have less enforcement powers, where standards are mandatory, guidelines are shared recommendations. There are a lot of organizations today that don't have these processes. And like we said earlier, cybersecurity is a synergy or alignment between using technology, processes in an organization, and then the people, because the people happen to be the weakest link in any cybersecurity enforcement effort. So policy, standard, procedures, and guidelines are key in any organization. And even to you as a person, say, what is my policy of sharing my flash drive? And there's one very big example I want to give. For instance, if you have a computer, in every organization, documents have their security classification. You will find out that the same computer that we type unclassified document, it is the same computer that we type top secret. And the question I ask, who and who have access to this computer? Do you leave the top secret file in the computer, or after typing, you remove it and save it in a flash drive that is kept in a safe? So for me, this is already vulnerability. As a hacker, I have seen a vulnerability because the same computer that you use to type unclassified document is the same that you type the one that is highly classified. So a lot of companies don't really have policy. What do we do in this? Or do we have a separate computer? Or when we type, we should remove anything of higher classification, put it in a flash drive, well encrypted, store in a safe, and log. It is only accessed by those that have the need to know. So it is policy that enshrine all these things for people to know. Now, people, they say people are usually the weakest link in the overall cybersecurity effort of any organization, including self, including even if you are the only one, you are likely to be, a weak link to yourself because of the way you handle most of these cyberspace devices. It's possible that you have a computer and you have an email. Any email you see, any document you see, you click, you know, because these are part of the issues we have in introducing malware and other problems to our systems. So while software can be patched for security flow, human stupidity does not have a patch. So we must take care of that. And the only way, you know, we can do that is reducing human error in the link of cybersecurity requires constant awareness training, emplacement and enforcement of best practices as defined by the organization's policies and standards. Meaning an organization must build cybersecurity culture. Yes, going back to best practices as defined by the organization, because cyberspace, cybersecurity are new areas. Yes, there are some standard practices, but it is fragmented. They are not ones that say, okay, all these things are accepted globally. So you can pick from most of the standards you see and then form your own organization best practices. Yes, this, when I provide the slides to the organizers, these are some courses that individual list of courses that individual can take to enhance their capacity or to venture into the area of cybersecurity. I will leave this with the organizers so that it can be propagated to people. We will still go into some of this as we go to the career path. So, threat to cybersecurity. Viruses, ransomware, worms, Trojans, spyware, hardware, hacking, social engineering, phishing, rootkits, virus, ransomware, worms, Trojans. All these are viruses that act in different manner. You know, virus, as you can see there, have been around for as long as computers have been around. Ransomware is relatively new, and a lot of people have fallen victims on the issue of ransomware. Once this your system is attacked and you get a notification to pay certain amount before your hard drive or your information are decrypted. Well, there are viruses too, but they behave differently. They have the ability to stay in your computer for a very long time and replicate itself continuously until all the resources in your computer, probably when you come to use your system, you realize that your system is so slow, and at some point your processor will become so hot, and then either the computer crashes or the computer just continue probably booting on and off. We have Trojan, act similarly like the worms themselves. These are Trojan's horses, you know, as the name suggests, is a program that masquerades as a legitimate application, but in actual facts contains code that allow hacker remotely access your own system. We have spyware. You know, these invade computers usually through freewares. Some of us that like to download free application, free softwares, and free everything. So we have to be careful. Hardware, very similar to spyware. And one of the goals is to monitor you as the user. Some have the capability to give a kind of feedback or to even monitor your keyboard strokes. Then the hacking itself, we have spoken about hacking. In hacking, we have hacking is hacking, even though in the hacking world, we try to say we have the white hacker, the gray hacker, and then the black hacker. So for the white hacker, he doesn't do anything bad. Yes, he doesn't do bad, not because he does not know what the black hacker can do. They all have the same capability, but it's just the intent and the code of conduct that govern the profession that makes you to only do it for ethical purposes. We have social engineering. Social engineering is one of the easiest, it's like winning a war without firing a gun. And this is to capitalize on the human psychological or emotional attributes, to gain information that will lead someone into getting information about your sensitive information. A lot of people are falling victims of this. People are using what they call the phishing, can be used for that. Hardware, they are all things we use. Even the spyware too, we all use them to achieve social engineering. Social engineering can equally be physical. Somebody can dress like a corporate person or he works in an environment and comes to your company and begin to ask you questions, or he'll tell you he is called to come and repair or maintain certain things. He's all there to come and gather some information. One of the world-renowned hacker, is it Calvin Mitnick, who has gone to prison several times, and in the long run, the American CIA still employed him. This is what he used a lot to get the victim into giving him all the information that he required. Then we have the rootkit. Rootkit are virus, like programs that activate before the computer antivirus and security suite. They are started when booting Windows, and they can change the way a security suite looks like, allowing virus to hide in plain sight and not dictating by this. Rootkit actually, allow a hacker to have a backdoor into your system. Some hackers might not harm you, but they can be using your computer, to create other problems elsewhere so that they cannot be traced. A lot of us today, we have our computers as bots, that are used for what they call distributed denial of service. You don't know that a computer is always used to attack somebody. So hackers do that so that they cannot be easily traced. So these are real problems in cybersecurity, and the daily reality of cyber world, you see, we have over 250,000 new virus threats every day that is produced. This is the reality. And about 50%, those that use social media user haven't changed their password in the last, years. About 20% never changed their password at all. Ransom attack on business, they said every 40 seconds, someone is attacked with ransomware. Now, a member of the public is hacked every 39 seconds. This is research from a defense, a cybersecurity defense magazine that is produced every month. And then about 75% of small business don't regularly pack up important data. Even us on personal ground. Excuse me. If you have a system, let me tell you, the hard drive, sooner than later, is going to crash. Particularly if it is this all hard drive we call either IDE, integrated device, because the hard drive, the internal is like something that play, is it garamafo they call it? So with time, because it had a mechanical system, it will be tired, it will be weak, and it will not work. And that is why now we have the SSD. If you notice, SSD is so expensive and it lasts for very, very long because it does not have that mechanical device. So it's to reduce the rate of failure. So please don't say my computer is new. Always back up your information. Otherwise, it will crash. That one is starting. Then about 61% of malicious websites are actually genuine sites that have been compromised, and it is unknown to the owners of those websites. Now, let's look at a recent case study of virus. There was a virus that was released in 2017 called NotPetya. And it was highly destructive malware and appeared speedy and devastating. Part of the lesson we are trying to see here is the amount of money. You can see about 10 billion in damage worldwide. One of the lessons is that this malware is increasingly designed to disrupt business operation in the physical world. Now, same virus is a raise the speed limit for modern cyber attack. It has beaten the record of any other virus that was released. Within 24 hours, it has gone across 64 countries. You see, the worst attack, take lateral movements to extreme across all organizational and industries, being shipping, pharmaceutical, banking, advertising, energy, and many others. So, are we at risk? At this moment, I want us to ask ourselves, are we at risk? And to know whether you are at risk or not, two things you have to evaluate. One is, does threat exist? And I think the answer is yes. Two, are we vulnerable? Yes, I think we are, because how many of us have the knowledge, complete knowledge, to do what we are supposed to do? Even at them, they say the only way for you to be safe is to carry your computer or your phone, dig a 6-foot hole, put it there and bury it, then go to sleep. That's the only way for you to be safe in the cyberspace. But it is impossible because you have to be part of the journey. So yes, we are vulnerable. And as such, we are at risk. So we are at risk. What do we need to do? You see, what we say here at risk, meaning there is something that is going to be jeopardized, either from your own side. You see, we stand the risk of financial loss, identity theft, then reputation. We have character assassination, trade secret theft, business collapse, depression, because certain things can happen to you that you'll be so depressed, and before you recover, it's going to take time if it doesn't even cost your life. The loss of life, yes, like I've said. We have loss of job. You could be so careless in your job that you allow somebody use social engineering to obtain information from you that will bring your company down. And if your company is down, definitely you're going to lose your job too. Then loss of documents. If they steal your computer, you're so careless in class or somewhere else, which it does happen. Sometimes you keep your computer in the car and go in to buy something, and those that like it better than you break the windscreen and then pick your laptop. So, like I said, Cybersecurity too involves physical security. You need to hide that computer properly in such a way that the man that needs it better than you doesn't see it. My people said a thief does not steal what he does not see. So, and then blackmail. So we are all at risk of one or two of what we have just put on the screen. So staying safe in cyberspace. First, I say build situational awareness of the myriad of issues in cyberspace. There are a lot of free materials in YouTube, online. All we need is the discipline of reading, even if it is one page in a day, if you can in a week, if you can in a month. Please try and do that, because you saw what I showed you about the convergence. We are there, and there's no going back. Then build a culture of cybersecurity within you, and organizations too should do that. We'll explain what that is. Use strong password while creating login credentials, and change password regularly. They say this thing all the time, but most times we are always reluctant to do that. Then back up your files. I've mentioned it before, whether you like it or not. If you are using an ID hard drive, it will crash someday. Even the SSD, you might mistakenly step on it or leave it under it, and your entire data might not be accessible anymore. So you need to back it, and you need to keep it safe. Now, think twice before making posts online. I am on Facebook and some other social media, and I see a lot of young people do posting that they don't know how later in the future this can affect their reputation. Now, let me tell you, there is what we call data mining. There are some countries today that they are very much aware of those that have the potential to rise as leaders of tomorrow. And they know that you are on this social media, and they are following you, and they are profiling you, and they are keeping your information. You rest assured, today they say you are a secretary to the government of the federation, you are the vice president, you are this thing, and they come to seek for any contract or something that you know is even against the interest or national interest. If you say no, and then they send those profiles for you when you did this, that is the blackmail. So please, for the younger ones, don't think you are catching for now. There is life after, there is work or there is responsibility after this age. So be careful in what you put online, because it will come back to haunt you. Update devices regularly, like we said before, and then avoid free hotspots if you cannot verify the source. This is where a lot of chief executives of organizations have fallen victim for those that follow them to get some credential regarding their organization, particularly when they travel and they see a free hotspot, either using their phone or any of the devices that they have to go online. Then be careful of fake websites in order to avoid handing over your credential. This is a bit difficult because people will tell you any website you see with HTTPS is a secure website. Yes, it is, but what you need to do is to look at some spelling mistakes in some website, because that is the only thing they use. Spelling mistakes. Once there, rest assured that that website is a fake website. And there are tools today, free tools with little knowledge to create this free website so that you can collect people's passwords. Yes, build what they call cyber resilient network and have recovery plans. Build a culture of cybersecurity, much earlier. Use a sandbox in your system if you are a frequent downloader. I use this a lot because you can have 3 computers or 4 or 5 even in one computer using what they call the virtual box. The virtual box is just like a computer. If you don't know how to do it, go to YouTube. YouTube will show you how to do that. It's like you have a computer in a computer. So most of the things that you want to try, free download, free software, you do it in that. And once there's a problem, all you need to do is to delete it like you delete any other file, because the interaction with the sandbox has nothing to do with the hardware and software of your own operating system. So that keeps you safe if you don't have a separate computer that you do all those things. Then using a VPN, virtual private network, is also a good idea, particularly if you want to keep certain conversation or interaction of yours quite secret. Then ensure the use of genuine copies of software except they are free and validated. Let me tell you a small story while I was doing a course in London. This particular aspect came up, and the answer I gave showed the class. We all use this thing. I used it before now. And the professor in the class commented that the rate of, pirated software in Africa and the rest is alarming, and he was expressing worry. I say, yes, if we don't do this in Africa, the digital divide will be infinity. I say, how do you expect an African who is struggling to feed himself will carry $2,000 or $1,500 to buy a genuine copy of Microsoft Word when he can pick it at mere 200 naira in Computer Village in Lagos? And my classmates, all of them, they laugh. But this is the stark reality. If we did not use some of this pirated software, probably we wouldn't have been where we are today. So, but then it is not encouraged because it's an intellectual property. Now, avoid insertion of USB drives not verified in your system. So, now to cybersecurity as a business opportunity. We have seen some of the ills. It is not all about how bad it is. In any situation, there is an opportunity. So let's look at here from Fortune Business Insight. The global cybersecurity market size is projected to grow from 172.32 billion in 2023 to about 424.97 billion in 2030, at a compound annual growth rate of 3.8. I'm very sure my Oga here at the end of this lecture will explain this accounting grammar to you. I'm an engineer and an IT hobbyist. But then what are we saying here? Look at the amount of money there for whoever is serious to be able to see what size of this money can be his. The good thing about cybersecurity, if you have the knowledge, you can be in Nigeria and still be working for a company in the US, in Russia, in the Middle East, or anywhere. So I see a lot of people, right, okay, what is the market size in Africa or in Nigeria? No, that is why the cyberspace has made the world a global village. And you can see in 2022, it's around 154 billion, 2023. And what are the driving factors? It's a rising number of e-commerce platforms, and the trend, integration of technologies such as the Internet of Things, machine learning, and then the cloud. You can also see we have the BFSI has about 18%. That is the banking, financial, and services. What do you call? Yeah. Industries, yes. Then the travel and transportation. So there's a huge market in cybersecurity, and we don't really have a lot of people that have the skill set to man most of these things. This is just a pie chart of the needs from government, healthcare, retail, and others. So, what do we need to do to be part of this large market? The key players here are the technology industry, like the IBM, Cisco, Microsoft, and all workforce. Then the career part here, which will quickly rush because time is calling. The career part, we have the analyst and then the technician. You can have an analyst and technician. This is the entry level. You can have the auditor, the consultant, the administrator, the engineer. This is the middle level. And at the top level, you have director, manager, and architect. Now, let's see. Now, for the analyst, you are there when the organization needs you. And then the job title you can have there: information security specialist, cyber security specialist, computer security technician, and network security specialist. We have courses that are designed through A+ certification, network. We have certified Expo hacker, and then we have this Cisco certified network associate. These are the courses that is expected of you, is desired of you to have to be able to take that particular position. Then we have the analyst here. Help to diagnose security problem before, during, and after. These are the job: IT security analyst, vulnerability, malware analyst, penetration tester, incident response, and the list is there. This is the requirement for one that aspires to go into that. Then we have the administrator. This is what is expected of you to do. You run and support security system and ensure only authorized people can access them. These are the job available: system security administrator, network, and then information security administrator. What are the requirements? This is what is desired of you to know, to be able to earn any of those positions. We have the architects. You plan, design complex security solution and architecture and ensure they are deployable. These are the job titles: information security architect, information system security architect, and cyber security architect. Courses desired for those job titles. And we have the auditor. You help to ensure the organization is securing what it needs to secure. The job titles are here: information security auditor, security compliance, information system auditor, and information assurance auditor, then information technology auditor. All these are available at the auditor level. This is desired certification for the auditor. We have the consultants. You provide expert security advice and technical guidance to organization. The job title: information security consultant, computer security consultant, database security, network security, and then cyber security consultant. Desired courses or certification are here. Then the engineer, you build security system and tackle complex security problems. These are the job titles. Then desired certification available for this position. manager manages people and projects to help an organization implement a successful security program. These are the job titles. They are information system security manager, security information security manager, IT security, application security. These are the desired qualification or certification required. The director provides the organization's security vision and work with leadership to ensure it gets implemented. So all the processes, standards, procedures, and guidelines falls under the purview of that. We have Information Security Director, Chief Information Security Officer, Chief Security Officer. You have this nomenclature in most organizations differently. And these are the desired certification to hold that position: Certified Information System Auditor, Information Security Manager, Information Security System Architecture Professional. So the remuneration, this is according to Mondo. Mondo is a company that engage in research and then seeking for IT specialists. This is the tag they put as a 2023. You can see the information security manager is leading in terms of pay annually, and then the lowest there, I think, is network security engineer. No. Cyber security analyst. Like I mentioned earlier, analyst is at the mid-level even. But manager, directors, and consultants, they are the ones at the highest level. So, cyber security, in summary, is a synergy between technology, application of technology, and processes that are established in an organization to support the use of that technology and management of people, and then the people, the users themselves. How cultured are they? I made mention that quantum technology, machine learning are two areas that are going to challenge cybersecurity further. Even though the cybersecurity experts are saying machine learning will help in predicting cyber attack before it happens. Similarly, I can tell you a hacker is always 10 times ahead of you. So the hackers to use that same machine learning to be able to know how to penetrate organization. With the quantum technology, encryption of information is likely to become worthless, because the speed of quantum machine in decrypting password or encrypted information is beyond imagination. So these are two areas that are going to challenge for both the good guys and then the bad guys. So at this stage, even though it's already on the slide, I want to say thank you once again for your attention, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my thoughts on this topic. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. It's been a very interesting discussion, and not at all boring, even for someone with accounting and finance background like myself. We would officially thank you down the road, sir, but I want to say thank you. Your international training and exposure is very evident in your presentation. And like someone I know, we always say that Defense College training is not ordinary. Admiral Komolafe would always say defense college training is not ordinary. So your presentation is very reflective of your background, sir, and the fact that you are a general. We will give you some time to take a cup of water, and then we'll come back for the Q&A. At this time, we would connect with University of Ilorin. We have one of our, I would call it someone holding our hands who helped us to facilitate that center. He wants to give us some words. I think I should also add that we have 5 viewing centers and we have 111 participants on call online right now. Some of the centers have like 60 to 52 people in 2 of the centers. I'm still waiting for the statistics from the other 3 centers. So, sir, just so you know the number of people you've been able to impact with this 1 hour sacrifice or 2 hour sacrifice of your time. Thank you so much, sir. University of Ilorin, can I have your camera on, please? Is the camera on? Oh, sorry, University of Uyo. Pardon me, please. University of Uyo, is your camera on now? Okay, we have some questions. Maybe I should go quickly because we don't want to keep people beyond what we have promised. I will just start asking the Admiral the questions now, since Uyo is yet to come on. Okay. Thank you very much, sir. I had my own questions, but again, your slides answered most of my questions. I kept on saying, which question would I ask the speaker now? Because his presentation has been so robust and has answered some of my questions. We have about 19 questions, and I'm going to have to be very careful so that we don't keep you for too long. I would like to say to everyone that has put a question in the question and answer box that any question that our guest speaker is not able to answer now, Mr. Edison and the team and myself would work on getting you the responses from the speaker, just so that we don't keep everybody here endlessly. Okay, so I want to start with a question from Mohammed Shuaib. And he says, what is the difference between, he says, do white hat hackers ever face legal challenges for their work? White hat hackers. Maybe you will help us, sir, because I don't know what a white hat hacker is.
Yes. I understand what he's saying. Very good question. You see, a white hat hacker does not hack without being invited. They don't even hack. We don't call what they do hacking. They conduct what we call penetration tests. Meaning a company will invite them for the purpose of, conducting a penetration test to check for vulnerability in their IT infrastructure. So there's going to be an agreement between the white hat hacker and then the company. So they are not likely to face any legal challenge because their limit of that exercise will be specified in the agreement, and they will not go beyond that limit.
Thank you, sir. I'm just trying to make sure that I get to the questions that many people can understand and we can easily answer. Okay, so Sadiq Balikis says, do all these viruses attack the computer even without clicking on it?
I like that. Yeah, virus cannot enter your computer without interaction with other components of the cyberspace. And that's why, first and foremost, you don't have to connect your computer to internet to get virus. We spoke about the issue of USB drive. When you collect a USB drive from somebody, this is common in campuses because a lot of people, use their flash drive in different places and probably, let me just get this information from your system. So you have to be wary of that flash drive. What usually you have to do if you have a very good antivirus is to scan the flash drive first before you even allow it to take a file. But you see, technology is going so sophisticated. There are some flash drive you put, you don't even need to scan it. Immediately you put it. Yes, sir. If there's a virus there, it will be attached to your computer. So there are very, very easy means of introducing virus. And then another one is the internet, like we said. So when you download files, when you click on things, so virus don't just get into your computer if you didn't do anything.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Obiwane Onwekwe is asking, sir, what's the difference between gray and black hackers?
Good. So the gray hacker, like I said, is just a nomenclature. Because usually when you say a hacker, everybody see you as a bad guy. So we have the gray at the middle. The gray hacker is neither a white hacker nor a black hacker, but he can choose to be anywhere. For me, that on its own is fraud. You have to belong to somewhere. You can't be at the middle. You say, well, sometimes I can choose to conduct penetration tests without harming an organization. And then sometimes maybe I want to hack somebody's computer or to hack a bank account, maybe to make name among my peers or something in the line of that. So I see that as fraud. It's either you are a white hacker, ethical hacker, or you are a black hacker who is the bad guy. Being in between, but it's just a nomenclature that we just give in the hacking world.
Thank you very much, sir. I apologize if I appear to be rushing the questions. There are so many of them.
No. It's okay. Go ahead.
All right, sir. Unfortunately, this question is anonymous, but I want to ask it because it's one of the questions I had. And also, there was a lot of conversation around it in the chat box. So this person is asking, is connecting to airport hotspot also dangerous? Yes. I know you mentioned it in your talk earlier on. Can you just help us understand this more?
Yes, that's what I said. There's a caveat. I said, do not connect, not just airport, anywhere, a hotspot that you cannot verify its source. Now, it's always dicey, it's 50-50. Hackers or somebody with bad intention, I tell you, is 10 times ahead of whatever you're thinking. I can create what we call a rogue router, wireless access point, and it will mimic the one that the airport is using with all the SSID, and then place it there, and people will still use it. But what I do, if I am traveling, I usually go to either maybe a coffee shop to ask the sales guy there, please, do you have a hotspot here? And ask them what is the SSID, so that when I see it, I can log in. Like I said too, I know we use phone a lot. It's good to have a small laptop and then have that virtual box. If you have to do this, please always connect through your virtual box. Whatever happens there, like I said, you can delete it like you delete any other file. But there is a danger. Not all airport hotspots are bad hotspots, but try to verify whether these hotspots, based on this SID you are seeing, truly belong to this particular canteen also.
Okay. Thank you, sir. That's because people can mirror the SSID of the SSID of the vendor.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, sir. I had this question on my mind, and I thought it's not fair to ask the Admiral this question because he works for government. But because we saw the various associations that you belong to, you may be able to speak to it. And if you're not comfortable with this question, sir, please, you can step it down. But Otnel Imeje is asking, how is the Nigerian government playing a role in cybersecurity awareness? My own question earlier was, how ready are we as a country? Are we paying enough attention to this issue of cybersecurity?
Yes, Nigeria is trying. I can tell you when you go, there is a report always written by World Economic Forum on what we call the Global Cybersecurity Index, Global Cybersecurity. So that particular report actually tried to x-ray the cybersecurity posture of a country. And I came across this in 2015 when I was doing my master's and writing a research. Fortunately for Pakistan, for that matter, doing my thesis was on research, emerging threat in cybersecurity. And there, how do they access a country's cybersecurity posture? Yes, your level of awareness. Is there a cybersecurity strategy that the country have? Do you have any law that has to do on data protection? Do you have any law that has to do on cyber crime? You understand? So I think Nigeria has all this. There is a strategy on cybersecurity. We have this Data Protection Act that has been signed. We have this cyber criminal, all these things. And that is why NIDA is there. Well, NIDA is there creating awareness, but probably how wide it is going and how it is being impacted probably is a different thing. But I am aware because I have participated in a lot of their programs while I was in Abuja. But I know NIDA is doing a lot in terms of the issue of cybersecurity, as well as the Office of the National Security Advisor too. We have what they call this National Cybersecurity Operations Center, just like if there's any emergency or so, a response center, emergency response center. So I think we are doing is probably how much is being propagated. That is another thing. But you see, creating cybersecurity awareness is not only the responsibility of the government. What you are doing right now is a wonderful, wonderful effort. It's a wonderful effort. So we need to have more organization that organize these things from time to time, creating the awareness. You know, a lot of people always think that cybersecurity is technology. That's why I try as much as possible to reduce the technical jargons in this presentation, so that let everybody understand it from the very basic level first. If you want to build on that, you'll be able to make researches. But cybersecurity is not all about, it's only when you are a hacker, you have to write programs. No, there are basic things you will do and then you remain safe. So Nigeria is doing well. That I can attest to because I've been part and parcel of most of the program, and I have seen most of the publications that were done at the national level. So we are doing well. Probably the awareness should be made more than it is right now.
Thank you very much, sir. I just saw a question now from Aliyu Moshood, and I'm not surprised. I knew someone would certainly ask you this question. So he's currently reading mechanical engineering and he intends to join the military. And to be specific, into tech cybersecurity. He says, although I have finished a 6-month training on cybersecurity through Cisco, how can I join the military after graduation? That's a bonus question because it's, I'm sure many of them around the call would like to hear that too.
Yes. Okay. The military is for Nigerians. The only problem with the military is that there are a lot of stages. Sometimes you could have everything, but your health status cannot allow you. You understand? There are a lot of consideration. We consider your health status, we consider even your height, we consider your age. You could be very brilliant, you pass everything, and yet you are not taking. Perhaps we say we need people of so height, and you are below that particular height. So this is providence, this is God making by the standard the military sets. So the military is open to him. If he's interested, I can tell you the military that I am in right now, I know we are also building human capacity in the area of cyber security. In fact, the Nigerian Defense Academy, I think about 4 or 5 years ago, have to introduce a department that has to do with, I think, intelligence and cyber security too, because we're trying to follow the global trend too. You know, the war now is not all about moving tanks and moving planes too. There are ways you can impact through cyberspace, and your enemy will know that yes, you are there. So the military actually needs people in that area. If all other areas of requirement are okay, I'm very sure with his background, you know, he'll be considered.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir. There's numerous questions. I would like to take one last question, then I'll give you a little break, sir, so that the professor can speak for 5 minutes. Olumuyiwa Waipaye is one of my favorite mentees in the foundation, so I have to take his question. He says, how many years, well, he says, thank you, sir, for your enlightening presentation. How many years would it take for a beginner to become a cyber analyst? So it's a short question.
Well, you see, I am someone that sometimes I like to go out of the box. Go out of the box in the sense that I can tell you it depends on the effort you put. Within 2 years, if you want to be an analyst, it's about reading and practices. It's just that, you know, the industry will require you to have some internship to practice so that you'll be able to see sometimes between the reading reality and then the ground reality. Because take, for instance, when there's an emergency, you can read it so smoothly in the book, how the procedures that you go about, but when it happens actually, there are other unforeseen circumstances that will happen that will be able to return data. But in terms of getting the knowledge, honestly, it all depends on the seriousness you put. In 5 years, if a serious individual, honestly, you can do much, and you can get so much in the area of cybersecurity. You can fill that particular vacancy. I tell you a short story about a professor that during one of the engineering conference in Lagos. I think he's the VC also of University of Lagos, and he came, and he was, you know, telling us about the era in which we are now, era of information overload. He said, time has gone for lecturers to go to the library and carry the best book and keep it in their offices and come to the class and be bouncing and be asking students simply because they have the books. He said, 3 students were given 3 research projects, say one finished in about 3 years, the other one finished in 2 years, and then the other one finished it in 6 months. The professor said he has to go and say, how did you do it? It is him that he wants to learn from the boy. because this is an era of information overload. Whatever you're looking for is there. So it depends on the discipline that you require or that you want to put to get to that level. So they might tell you some of this time, but I don't think it's necessary to be more specific. Is your effort and discipline. And
to start and to have the interest. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. I'm almost thinking of a second career in cybersecurity. So I will let you take a break and I'll come back. Maybe we'll just take 5 more questions because the questions are endless, and then we can work with you to get responses to the outstanding questions. Thank you so much, sir.
Means that if they have plenty of questions, means they understood the lecture.
Yeah, it was interesting and well presented. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I'm not sure if I mentioned earlier, I noticed in the chat box, there are students from over 20 universities in Nigeria, you know, and some of the universities, I was even seeing their names for the first time. And so it's also part of our gratitude to you, sir, that you're impacting people from diverse universities across the country. At this time, I want to invite Professor Michael Namse of the Department of Business Management, University of Uyo, to speak to us for maybe 5 minutes. The professor has kindly facilitated the viewing center in University of Uyo, and we thank you, sir, for being a partner with Rehoboth to bring this event to the benefit of the young ones around the call. Thank you, sir. I'm going to unmute you. I think you're muted. Uyo, you're muted.
Good morning, or good morning to the Rehoboth Institute Foundation. Good morning to our dear guest speaker, Emily Spoledem from University of Uyo. So the professor was here early on to declare the event open, and he had to rush out because he has a very important assignment. So he has sent his regards to the foundation, and he also said we should thank guest speaker for taking it upon himself to hold this event in partnership with the foundation, and to also appreciate the foundation for scholarship awards that have been given to some of our students. As at last count, I think 3 or 4 students in this faculty of management science, University of Uyo, have been awarded the Rehoboth scholarships, and I can see them are physically here. So the professor said I should send his regards and kind words to the foundation and the speaker. Thank you so much. And also the dean of our faculty, Professor Isaac, he had promised to be here, but he had the last minute engagement outside the state, so he had to travel, but he has also asked me to send his kind regards to the foundation, and also to thank the foundation for their efforts in putting this together. And then he also said I should inform, or I should tell the foundation that it's going to keep the foundation prayers, it's going to keep rooting for the foundation. Okay, so thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much, University of Uyo. Thank you for coordinating this, and our sincere appreciation to the professor for supporting it. Yes, I'll go back to, and I can see Adekunle Ajasin University, we see you. I'll go back to our guest speaker now to take quick questions, and then we'll do the vote of thanks so that we don't keep attendees for too long. Thank you very much, Admiral Sam. Back to you. There's a question that, well, there's so many people who ask this question, but I'll take the one by Prince Will. Igbojiwaiku. Wow. He is a medical student from the Niger Delta University, and his question on threats to cyberspace. Is there a time interval for passwords to be changed? And what do you define as an ideal password? Finally, is it safe to back up passwords using cloud storage? I'm interested in the later question, the cloud storage. So he says, is there a time interval for passwords to be changed? What is an ideal password? And can we store our passwords in cloud storage? I think there are about 4 or 5 other questions, similar questions on password.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Okay, good. There is no time. You know, you set the time. And this is where organizational policy comes to play. If you are working for an organization, in the policy, you can say every user must change his passwords monthly, quarterly, or every fortnightly. As an individual, depending on the level of threat you perceive around you or the kind of activities you are doing, you understand? You can decide to say, okay, you'll be changing your password every 1 month. So you define that policy yourself, you know, and you define it based on the sensitivity of what you think you have and then the perceived threats you see around you. Now, a good password, like it is always recommended, should not be less than at minimum, though policy too can guide this. Some will tell you it has to be 14, some will tell you not less than 8, but not more than 15. So it has to have some special characters, it has to have capital letter, small letter, and numbers. You understand? So this is an ideal password, should not be, for me, between 8 to 15. The longer, the better. The longer, the better.
Okay, thank you, sir. The question about should we save our passwords in the cloud? Cloud storage.
The answer is no, no, no. There is no IT specialist that will ever tell you to save your password anywhere. Your password should be in your brain. Even in your brain, sometimes it poses a threat. Remember, I say you are part of the cyberspace. Let me tell you something. You see, if you know a criminal wants to do anything, and he understands that I am the network administrator of my organization, the man can decide to kidnap my child or somebody close to me in exchange, you know, for the password. Yes, it's part of it. So these are some things that happen. Like I said, if you do hacking, you find that 10, 20 times ahead of what you are thinking. That's if worse come to worse, they can kidnap, they can threaten your life, and you have to release that password. So sometimes when we say this insider threat too, it's not just ordinary. Maybe the person is threatened and he has to give the password. So not to talk of, there's nobody that will ever advise you to write a password or to save it anywhere. So my answer is capital no.
Thank you very much, sir, for your very clear answer. Khalil Abu has a similar question, and I'm asking it also because it's something that I also was concerned about. So you have Google, they tell you so that you can remember, you know, the way when you're using it, they say save your password here. So his question is, I have a question on using Google Password Manager in Chrome. Is it safe? Because
it is not safe. It is not safe. You see, I spoke about what we call data mining. I don't have any cloud account saving my pictures there, this and that. Yes, the one I have put somewhere else, I have given it out. I have never backed up anything in the cloud. No. I've never. So I don't advise. You see, data mining now where people will use personal. If you look at Google controls our life. Google's not everywhere you're going to. Google's not where. Google's not your favorite, what you want suggests to you and the rest. So privacy is lost.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. I need to wrap up now. But there's one question that I think is only fair that we answer. His name is John Doe. He says, maybe he's asking about self-learning of cybersecurity. And the question is, can I be a professional without a university degree? Can he get certification?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You don't need higher institution of learning to get the industry certification. But it is only rational that as a graduate, your rate of assimilation, understanding, reading proficiency, you understand, will be better when you are studying or you are doing this. But some people are gifted. You know, some people are gifted. They can read very well, they can write, they can understand. Now, let me tell you this thing for all of you seated here. I have not seen, apart from the course I have done in Liverpool. And why did I do that course? I said, okay, when I retire, I want to teach. For me to teach, then I have to go through. I have not sit down in any IT class to learn. All I did is self-learning because the tutors are there. If you just have the money, buy them from the industry, sit down, read them, prepare yourself, go and write the certification. All you need is the discipline of time management. I see young people with their phone, they spend an average of 4 to 6 hours daily unknown to them. If you can buy A+ certification CD now, it has about 52 clips, and none of the video lasts more than 5-10 minutes. Let's say you dedicate 1 hour in a day. And the beauty of computer is that there are simulators. If you are writing Cisco today, there are simulators. You listen to the lecture, you read the book, and you simulate it in your system. You do it time and time again until you are comfortable. Then you go and write the exams. To configure routers, to configure switches, you know, to subnet and the rest. These are basic things that you can do. Then if you have your hands, because the same configuration typing that you would do in the real one is the same thing you are doing in the simulation. So it's just the discipline of time management and getting access to these resources. I have not sat down in any class to do this certification. I listen to the tutors, I read the books at my own time, and if I feel I'm ready, I write the exams. That's all.
Thank you very much, sir. I wish we could just go on and on. Thank you so very much. And I think it's a big, I would say big congratulations to all the students and the participants and attendees for making out time to learn at your feet today, because all that we have heard are not things that we ordinarily hear if we don't make out this time. I want to thank you, sir. I'm gonna unmute now one of the trustees to speak on behalf of the chairman of the board of trustees to give us the vote of thanks. The questions that haven't been answered, we will get you answers. The manager of the foundation, Mr. Edison, and his team, they've done so well coordinating this this webinar, and all the outstanding questions will be answered and responses shared with all. We acknowledge University of Uyo students, Dekunle Ajashin students, and Ekiti State University, we see you. University of Ilorin, we see you. I would leave the floor now for Admiral Komolafe to give the vote of thanks.
Please, before my Oga speaks, you know, in the military, once your Oga speaks, you can't speak. I want to once again appreciate all the students and tell you, thank you for giving me the privilege to talk to you, and hope to talk to you more and more as we grow as a country. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for partnering with Rehoboth, all that you've been doing behind the scenes. Yeah, thank you, sir. Ms. Admiral Komolafe, the floor is yours, sir.
Yes, thank you. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, sir.
I will first apologize that I'm not coming on video because where I am is a little bit dark. Albeit on behalf of staff and volunteers of our DSF and all the participants around the table this morning, still morning. I express my profound appreciation to my brother Admiral Ibrahim for the well-delivered lecture. It is an understatement to say that you did justice to this topic. And your lecture or your presentation, among others, threw light into the composition of cyberspace, distinctive characteristics of cyberspace, the threat spectrum. These are areas that, honestly speaking, I never thought of before, never given it a thought before. The threats to cyberspace, like virus, ransomware, spyware, hardware, hacking, social engineering, and rootkit, were all highlighted. And specifically, you mentioned that we have about 250,000 new viruses on a daily basis. That is scary, very scary. And you also, for this reason, you said we are all at risk and we must stay safe in the cyberspace. One of the things you said was that we must always back up our information and we must constantly change our password. Again, you mentioned a little bit, you spoke a little bit about the difference in depth. That is another area that is quite new to me, and I think to many of us around this call. You also expatiated on the great business opportunity that are in cyber security. Wow. One of the things you said, which I took, what I'm taking along, is that at present, the market is about $178 billion worldwide. In the next 7 years, that is in 2030, it will be $424 billion, an increase of over 100%. That is huge. It is huge. And at an annual rate, a growth rate of 13.8%. That is also huge. So it is just there for us to just tap in. We thank you for this. We have thoroughly benefited today, Admiral. We're going home better informed on this subject than we came. And we assure you that the seed you have sown will bring about the desired fruit, if not for all of us, for majority of us. I was just thinking, I wish I'm above 60 now. I was saying, why was I not told all this when I was much more younger? Of course, but I'm comforted that we have younger people that we have sown seed into their lives, and we believe that they will come out better human beings. They will come out to compete favorably with the outside world, and this alone is enough to gladden my heart. So once again, Admiral, I say thank you very much for finding time out of your very busy schedule, because I know that you are a busy man. And I was looking at you so relaxed. I said, wow, who knows where you are just yesterday or 2 days ago. Maybe you are in Germany or you are in somewhere else. We say thank you again. And it is hope that if we call upon you, we will surely call on you in future. You will oblige us. Thank you very much, Admiral Ibrahim. I have thoroughly enjoyed your lecture and I have been educated. And thank you everybody for staying on. I say that at the peak, we were almost about 130 and we never dropped below 112. At present, we are about 112. So what that means is that the lecture was captivating, and it's also a fact, the factor of the quality of the lecture presented. So I say bye-bye to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you so much, sir. Edison, the administrator and coordinator of this event, will speak to us at this time. Edison, are you unmuted? Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Can you hear me, ma?
Loud and clear.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Admiral Ibrahim. Thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate it. This is my second time of meeting you. I thank you so much for your support to the foundation. Having said that, I also want to thank everybody that has joined us. ASQ from University of Ilorin, GoFarming Student Fellowship from Adekunle Ajasin University, the NAOS student from Obafemi Awolowo University. We also have the all members of Professional Networking Group, University of Uyo, Federal University of Polytechnic, Nekede. I can see your video and I can see that you have quite a good center over there. Thank you so much for everybody that has joined in. Now, for those that have that applied for the 2023-2024 scholarship application, I want to assure you that you'll be hearing from us soon. At the latest by next month. For those of you that attended this event and probably hearing about this for the first time, we'll be talking to those at your center. We're trying to create an opportunity, a one-week window for you all. So please, let's remain connected. You can also join, you can also see what's going on at our Facebook page, our Instagram page at Rehoboth Dream Solid Foundation, and then even on Twitter at Dream Rehoboth. Then finally, I'm going to drop a link on the Q&A on the chat box now, and I just want you all to fill that link to just tell us where you're joining us from, and we referred you. So that's going to be for the grand prize that we are giving out. The pool has just been launched as well, so you could just answer those questions for those of you that are joining online. I'll be dropping the link now on the chat box for everyone. Those of us at the center, it's going to be given to you. Okay, let me share my screen so that you can see that. And then you can just, it's bit.ly July win. But I'm going to share my screen now. So just fill it. Okay. So just fill the questions there, and that will be all. Thank you so much all for joining. We are going to keep in touch, like I said. Thank you once again, Admiral Ibrahim. God bless you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Edison, thank you. Thank you, sir. I also want to acknowledge the presence and attendance of Olabamike Esther Iyanolua. He or she is a data processing teacher, works with the civil service, and took our time to join us. And I'm sure from learning from Admiral today, he or she will also impact the students they are teaching. Thank you so much for joining us. If you can connect by an email to Mr. Edison or myself, I would like to meet you and get to know you better. Odebamike Esther Yanolua, thank you for joining. Thank you all participants. Admiral, thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. We're grateful. I mean, we've not, Edison would say, I agree with me, we've not had an interactive session as this. You know, everybody was alert and, you know, stayed to the end, and so many questions. Thank you so much, sir, for the work you put into your presentation. Thank you, everybody. Bye.